In front of me is a Sig Sauer P320, and this is a very unique firearm. Today I wanted to make a video about it because it's one of my favorite guns to shoot. Now, if you're not familiar with the Sig P320, it came out in 2014, and the idea behind it was that it was a modular firearm. Sig wanted to be able to swap out every single component on this without having to go through a background check for a new frame or a new barrel or a new slide. They wanted to have it be fully customizable so that the user experience didn't have to go through a bunch of background checks just to upgrade their firearm. Now, how did Sig do this? Basically, there was something called a fire control unit that sits inside of here, and that is technically the registered firearm. The rest of the gun is unserialized, which means you can upgrade the frame, you can upgrade the slide, and you can upgrade the barrel completely separate, which means you don't need to go through a lengthy background check process. You don't need to be a certified FFL to make these components, making this a way more modular and customizable system over their other firearms that are out there. This was such a popular gun when it came out. It won a lot of military and law enforcement contracts and is still used in a lot of military contracts today. Now, before I get into exactly what I've done to mine, I do want to address the safety concern with these. A lot of people are scared of SIGs because of this gun specifically. In fact, you've probably heard of people say that SIGs are unsafe because of this firearm. Basically, in 2017, it came to light that there was an issue that was considered a drop safety issue, that whenever you drop the firearm in a vertical configuration like this, it would land in such a way that the firearm would basically fire without the trigger being pulled. And obviously, with firearms, that is a serious safety concern. Now, SIG did address this. They did say that they had fixed the drop safety issue. There was a voluntary recall so that if you did have an older model, you could send it in and then it could be fixed. And the newer models would come with that upgraded safety. However, this didn't really quell the public's concerns too much, but it did quell the military's. The military said, we're good with the upgrades that you've done. We consider it safe enough, so we're going to reinstitute it and basically continue the contract going. However, a lot of other people are scared of SIGs because of this gun specifically. Now, I do want to say, if you are concerned about the safety issue, even with the recall, the only SIG that was affected was the 320. The 365, one of the most popular handguns in the world. In fact, I think it is the most popular handgun in the world right now. It was not affected. The 320 was the only one that was affected. The 220, the 226 and the 229 and other SIGs were not affected by this issue. It's only the ones with the fire control unit, because that was the defective part. Now that I've kind of addressed that safety issue, I do want to talk about exactly what I've done to mine and why I like it so much, despite that safety issue that I mentioned earlier. This one should be the fixed version of the firearm, but I still don't chamber one just in case. But overall, I haven't had any issues with it yet, but who knows, I haven't dropped it either. Some of the things that I've done to this firearm, I did buy it with the upgraded frame and the upgraded trigger, so it does have the flat trigger, and it does have the more aggressive frame and the more aggressive stippling on the frame. Other than that, I have changed pretty much everything else on this gun. What I went ahead and did is I did the SIG red dot on the top here. This slide came with an optic cut for this optic, so I went ahead and went with that. I went with the Olight Valkyrie on the front here. A lot of people diss on Olight because it's a Chinese company. I like them. I haven't had any issues with it, and this is kind of like my home carry gun. It's the one that I kind of keep by my bedside. It's not something that I conceal carry out with me. It's just too big for that. And it's worked just fine for that. However, the biggest thing that I've done to this that I think is probably I know is the coolest is I actually went ahead and ported the barrel here. If you notice, my barrel's red. I did have it re-cerakoted in red, but the biggest thing is I had my buddy with a CNC machine put 7 ports in the barrel and cut the slide so that it can basically relieve gas out and help me shoot flatter with this gun. This is a beautiful firearm. Instead of doing like a compensator and a shorter barrel and a shorter slide to fit the compensator while maintaining the footprint, I just had him cut this. It was way cheaper, and it functions beautifully. It is one of my favorite guns to shoot. I am able to shoot multiple rounds, get right back on target, and it just shoots so flat. It is a very fun gun to shoot. I have a lot of fun with it. Even despite the safety concern, I I've had no issues with this firearm, and it is probably my favorite pistol on the market today. Now, some things that I would like to see is this doesn't have a physical safety. I think if it had a physical safety, I'd feel a lot more comfortable carrying one in the chamber. It has what's called like a trigger safety, which is in the fire control unit. Obviously, it didn't work too well because there were issues with it going off when it wasn't supposed to. But other than that, that's really my only gripe with this is I wish it had a physical safety. It doesn't have a hammer. It is a striker firearm. I usually like hammer fire more because you can see when it's cocked. You can let the hammer down, have a stronger pull, something like on the 226 or the 220. But when I got to mess around with the 320, I realized how cool this firearm was, and I just realized I had to have it. So overall, it's a very fun gun to shoot. If you're in the market for a new pistol, I highly recommend the 320. Just make sure it's had that recall done so it passes those safety standards. Overall, it's a very fun gun and probably my favorite pistol to shoot. I am new to making gun videos, so if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like. And if you didn't, let me know in the comments down below why and maybe what I can do better, because I am new to making gun videos. I've loved guns for quite a while. I have quite a collection. And I figured I'd make some videos for you guys about them. So let me know in the comments down below, and if you're not already, subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.